we move on to our main event, really, of the podcast. It is the Grade 1 Kentucky Derby. So, of course, for 3-year-olds, we are going 1.25 miles on the dirt for $5 million. That's right, $5 million purse. Raider Jim, I'm going to give you first honors at the 151st running of the Kentucky Derby.
I don't think it has changed for several weeks. Journalism has been the favorite going into the month of May, and I think it's going to remain. And it's obvious. Journalism is definitely the best horse out there. Going to be running out of the 8 spot, currently at 3-1. But here's a little fascinating fact. You have to go back to 2013 before you find a favorite that wins the Derby. After 2013, there's been a bit of a drought, and we went over some of the odds that have won over the last 3 years, 60-1, 80-1, those types of things. And then go back to, of course, Mind That Bird at 50-1. So journalism should be the winner, should be the leader, is definitely the favorite, but can it overcome and break that spell that has been put on that label going into 2025? If not, then who can take the lead? I think you're gonna go to number 17 at 6-1, Sandman. I like that horse very, very much. Now, pace, of course, in any race is going to be very important. Pace in this race is going to be set probably by the horse on the rail, number 1, Citizen Bull. Runs like a bull. I mean, they open the gate and that horse just sets the pace and attacks. So Citizen Bull will set the pace. Citizen Bull could definitely finish in the money, and at 20-1, not worth or not a bad look to stick it on your ticket underneath there. Definitely has the opportunity to finish in the money. Another one that is a good favorite is at 5-1, Sovereignty, running out of the 18 spot. Little far outside, but I think Sovereignty has the potential and definitely has the skills to make a race out of that. So that's 4 horses, but I've got a 5th one. And the 5th one, even though I said it earlier, don't go sentimental. Better have good reasons when you're going to bet on certain horses. And I'm looking at number 4, Rodriguez. Now, Rodriguez, who has finally come through and won a couple nice races. I think even won the Santa Anita Handicap or the Santa Anita Derby not that long ago. Let me tell you, trained by Bob Baffert, being ridden by Mike Smith. Mike Smith is the only jockey in this field that has won the Derby twice. He is also, because he is Rodriguez's jockey, let me tell you what they did the last couple times they let him out. They let him break, they let him run. They let him do his thing. They didn't position him. They just took off and went. That is enough right there with Mike Smith on the saddle to go ahead and make a race of it and possibly end up in the winner's circle. So there's 5 horses. We all know journalism will be there. I just don't know that journalism is going to be number 1. So then you have to figure out who are your 2 and 3 horses going to be. For me, it's going to be a combination of number 8 journalism, number 4 Rodriguez, and 18 and 17 Sandman and Sovereignty.
Yeah, pretty much on the same, thought process here. One thing that was interesting, the closer look here on the Daily Racing Form, very interesting. 4 of his last 5 starts, this is journalism, only competed in 5-horse fields in 4 of those 5 races. He only beat a combined 23 horses in those 5 races. He'll have to beat 19
Correct.
just today. And now again, the Kentucky Derby, this is the biggest, and I mean this like literally, like numerically, the biggest field they will ever be in. Now there is only 1 also eligible, which I don't know if that's an oversight on DRF, but normally we have at least 4. But anyways, so at the very least, we're going to see 20 horses more than likely, when the bell's ringing. Journalism has not raced against more than 5, but at the same time, a lot of these horses kind of have dealt with that. You don't really see a whole lot of big fields in the 2-year-old side of things, or even really in the Derby prep that we see kind of in the early parts of the year. But I do like journalism. It's interesting. I would love to go back and look. I probably have to maybe think Medina Spirit or something like that. The last time we saw a West Coast horse be a favorite. But again, I could just, and Journalism isn't a Bob Baffert horse, but I just immediately think, oh, if there's a West Coast horse on the East Coast, it's a Baffert horse. That's not the case. It's Michael McCarthy, but still, it's good to kind of get the West Coast side back into it and to see that East Coast bias kind of go out the window, even if it is only 3-1 to be that morning line favorite. I also do like kind of underneath Burnham Square. Is the horse ran very well in the Bluegrass at 4-1 and just got past Estate Avenue just by a nose. But I do think they figured something out getting Hernandez aboard in that one. And then I'm very similar to you, kind of underneath Journalism. I was trying to split hairs between Sovereignty and Sandman. And the only reason I'm going to give a slight edge to Sandman is I just think the early speed a little bit more for Sandman. Both of these horses are, they're 17 and 18 post position is just, you feel like an island. You're out on an island. You might even be in that, like, I don't know if they still do the 2 starting gates. It might just have one big one, but I always remembered they had like the 4 starting gates that were like, they had to like, attach to the main one. It's like, oh, you're in that. It just, everything seems off. 17 and 18 for these 2 horses. I mean, I think Journalism has to look around and feel, I love my post position, but maybe I love my rival's post position even more. So that could probably be something that could possibly hold them up. But I do I really do like Sandman and Sovereignty. But I give the slight edge to Sandman and Jose Ortiz to get the job done. Won the Arkansas Derby last time out. Sovereignty got the Fountain of Youth on the road to the Derby. And the final horse I did want to bring up, you did mention Citizen Bull, but this is a horse Baffert bringing out east. And I wonder if Citizen Bull ran, let's just say, got into 3rd in the Santa Anita Derby, and who knows, let's say ran in 93. Would we see this number a little shorter? Because look, this is the reigning juvenile champion. And yeah, okay, last time out, didn't run terribly well, but did win a graded stakes race earlier this year by 4 lengths, the Robert Lewis. So, I'm very interested. I think there is a lot of value with Citizen Bull. And this is a horse that wants to get onto the lead early, and it's on the rail. I don't know. Some of the stars are aligning, and sometimes the horse racing has a really funny way of kind of coming full circle. And how interesting would it be the first year after 3 years of Bob Baffert being suspended, we see Bob Baffert back in the winner's circle? Hey, I'm not
20-1.
Yeah, I'm not stumping for anybody. I'm just saying sports, sometimes it's written in the stars, and that could definitely be something to keep an eye on. But I really do like Citizen Bull, especially at 20-1. Again, not too many juvenile champions are going to come out into the Derby at 20-1, even with a graded stakes race in that year already under their belt. But
one other remark about Journalism, and I'm glad I remembered to bring it up. I read and heard several real professional handicappers make the remark, and this is not a slight on anybody, especially the name I'm going to drop, because you and I are fans of this person, but there's a little bit of question mark regarding Umberto Rispoli being on the back of Journalism. And they're saying he's not always the dirt guy. Mm-hmm. And especially the dirt guy in a race like this, in a field like that may be the difference for Journalism. And you hit on it with, smaller fields. Yeah. You're coming out of the 8th spot, and so you've got 10 other horses to your right. no pun intended, you are going to be jockeying for position.
Yeah, it is the Derby. If you win it, fantastic, but you could handicap this. You could get the greatest handicappers in the world, and they could break it down for 365 days to the hairs on the horse's backside. And one stumble, one little jostle early on, and guess what? Your race is over. It is a wild, wild race, and it's the only one you're going to see 20 going all at once. Even the Classic, you'll maybe get 12 horses, maybe 10. But even then, sometimes you don't even get double digits in the richest horse race in North America. But wow. Last week, we kind of joked that, we were kind of staying in the kiddie pool. Well, we went all the way. We didn't even go into the pool. We just got dropped into the middle of the ocean. We got deep water this week. Looking at the time, and wow, it's a long one. We appreciate you all for sticking by us. I think I heard the dinner bell in the Martinez household with the pups jumping up like, hey, it's time. Why are you still sitting behind that thing? But we do appreciate you all sticking through, and hopefully we gave you some winners.